Bare knuckle boxing, one of the earliest sports known to mankind, and yet in this day and age it operates widely underground. Bare knuckle boxing was once the standard combat sport. It appeared in the first Olympics, travelling fairs, fights were even held in theatres until a new set of rules, the Marquess of Queensberry rules, were introduced in 1867 that ruled gloves mandatory for fighters. It wasn't until more recently that bare knuckle began its comeback. BKB, one of the UK's premier promotions, is making waves in the sport's surge to former glory. But one thing in its way is the media. News articles love to slander the sport, label it barbaric and unfit for TV. This has seemingly worked because many of the general public believe the sport is illegal or unsafe.
Paul Hiltz here.
He was there. Oh, good shot. Good right hand over the top there from Hiltz, Tom.
I know not the knockout specialist, Paul Hiltz.
Oh, shot.
I believe that there's a bit of a grey area with it at the minute. People look at it as a taboo. I don't believe companies want to jump on full sponsorship because they still think it's a bit barbaric.
But what if I told you that bare knuckle boxing is actually safer than boxing with gloves? Gloves were introduced to protect a fighter's hands. They allow for a fighter to throw a physically harder punch without worrying about damaging their hands. And although the bloodiness may concern viewers in bare knuckle, this comes from surface-level cuts, which actually result in many fights being called off early because the damage is visible.
Yeah, another good shot from Parker there, working the inside. Now he's got his confidence, Tom. Now he's getting...
I think he's been hurt by that, that decision.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
He's got a bad cut.
That's bad. That'll be stopped, I'm telling you now. That won't carry on, I'm telling you now, Tom.
I have the idea that obviously with the bare knuckles you are literally fighting for your life, even though on the flip side of the coin I believe it's safer than glove fighting. I think it's more intent, you know, that knowing that you can get cut with a jab and obviously knocked unconscious with a jab. You go in with the element of, you know, it's do or die, it's them or you. So yeah, I believe the bare knuckle is more, it's more suitable for my style, yeah.
Scientists are just now correlating boxing to CTE damage, a form of brain damage caused by repeated blows of impact to the head. Boxing gloves allow fighters to take hundreds of hits per fight.
Over the course of, say, 2 weeks, maybe sort of 20 days, the bruises come out, the concussion's settled in. I do believe you feel concussion after glove fighting up to, you know, a month afterwards. It was a real thing. With the bare knuckle, if you know anything about my career, in my second fight against Jack Arnfield, I got severe cuts, should I say, maybe 5, 6, you know, 3, 4 inch lacerations all over my face, above my eye. So it looks like it was more as in dangerous because there's so much claret splitting everywhere. Obviously you can see the skull through the cuts. So it looks terrible, but once the cuts are healed, which was that night they're stitched up, that next day there was no concussion, there was no blurred vision, there was no headaches, there was not that sort of dehydrated, overwhelmed feeling. So I think from personal experience, with bare knuckle, the impact on the shot, as in there and then, does the damage, as in tears your tissue, as in the skin, or knocks you out, but you get over it at such a fast rate, where with glove boxing, maybe because you feel you've got that protection, or that false sense of security, you're taking shots, and it's more concussive blows, because apparently with the gloves on, it's meant to give more of a shock to the brain. So I do believe that it's safer without the gloves, you know, and that's personal preference.
BKB consists of 5 2-minute rounds. Most BKB fights are stopped due to hand damage or too many facial cuts. Careers in BKB are generally short-lived. Compared to boxing, there are 7 3-minute rounds. Fights are usually won by knockout, and careers span decades. The difference is clear, and each sport has its risks. It's a choice between possible brain damage or broken hands and cuts, a long versus short-term injury.